Welcome to the Real Aware Women podcast. We are Wendy, Jane, and Ami, three women leaning into life with more awareness, intention, and courage to be honest and real. Together, we will share what it means to live in alignment with who we really are, beneath the noise, beyond the expectations.
The acronym says it all, RAW. That's how we show up here. Real conversations, aware perspectives. Women willing to unpack the messy, the meaningful, and everything in between.
Every week, we dive into the stuff that actually matters. Purpose, passion, relationships, and how we navigate the world with clarity and compassion. Let's get into it.
Welcome to Real Aware Women. I am Wendy Lieber, and I'm here with my two co-hosts, Ami Patel.
Hello.
And Jane Boland.
Hello.
Welcome, ladies.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
So today is episode 10.
Yes.
I can't believe
2 digits.
I mean, unbelievable.
Yeah,
So quickly.
Yeah, it's been so fun. What have you guys learned about this podcast since we started? I feel like every episode has gotten better, easier. Well, one caveat, we are in a new studio.
It's awesome. We love it.
So for those of you that have been listening to us, you can now see us if you want, which is
great.
Super exciting. So back to episode 10, what have you learned since we started?
Well, I mean, I think everything's an evolution. So I feel like we just have gotten better and better, clearer and clearer.
Mm-hmm.
And what I love is that we don't script this, that we really come in and we're just clear, aware.
For sure.
Just like in the title.
No doubt.
Real Aware Women.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, the evolution of it, it's fun. So for me, I'm feeling like episode 10 coming here is a milestone, and
Such a milestone.
let's keep going. Next domain.
For sure.
Let's do it. What about for you?
Yeah, and when you said that, what just came up, given our recent couple weeks of all the things going on out and about, I'm really just grateful that we have a voice.
Yeah.
I'm grateful that we're speaking up, not just watching and having opinions, but doing stuff about it. And so I feel a lot of passion and purpose in being here, even more than ever today. And, getting the good word out.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So one thing, when I go back and listen to some of the episodes, I mean, I'm just so impressed by how brilliant the two of you are. It's really...
Well, we're mirrors of you, Wen.
Well,
We are.
All right, I'll take it. One thing I want to address is the name of our podcast is Real Aware Women, but our podcast is for everyone.
Sure is. It's
not-
definitely for everybody.
It's
Yeah.
for everyone. Because I've had a few people say, your podcast is for everyone. I'm like, yeah.
Yeah. Well,
But-
we're the Real Aware Women sharing with the world. That's how you
right.
should think about it.
That's right.
Easy enough.
Absolutely.
And I really enjoy listening to men talk about their experience of being a man,
Yeah.
being masculine, how their viewpoints are and what their take is on different things. And it gives me a viewpoint that I want for myself sometimes as I integrate more and more my own masculine and other sides of myself that I might not have experienced already. So
100%.
brand new. Yeah.
So men, if you're listening, integrate your feminine by listening to us.
Yeah, sure.
Or a new perspective.
That's right.
So today's topic is very purposeful because we're all about purpose here. It's indoctrination. The word indoctrination, the feeling indoctrination, how indoctrination affects us. And in some ways, I think has us walking around asleep,
Sure.
like zombies.
Yep,
We're just
definitely.
fed a lot of information. We just believe it. We, then repeat it like it's fact. And so today is about distilling that. It's bringing, shedding some light on it. And for me, as I was putting together the notes for this show, something that came up was growing up, curiosity was not rewarded in my household. My parents were not big on, little kids asking a lot of questions. I got shut down.
Sure.
A little bit of the, kids should be seen and not heard.
Mm-hmm.
So I grew up, not challenging things,
Sure.
not questioning things. And so, over the past couple of years, as I've started to challenge my beliefs or look at, well, why do I believe this? Why am I saying it? It's really been so expansive just to realize, where I've been asleep and how I can use that to then create new beliefs, new ways of being indoctrinated. What comes up for you around the word indoctrination?
Yeah. I mean, you're just saying that being indoctrinated, I think people generally think of that like there's something wrong here.
For sure.
Instead of looking at human beings must be indoctrinated because babies need to learn not to touch this, not to touch that.
Mm-hmm.
So if you take that charge off of it, you can really look at it for what it is, which is this impacts our way of being as human beings.
Sure, it does.
And when I think about what you just shared about your, growing up, I mean, I was debating my parents all the time, constantly challenging them. I want to argue. But the best part about it is looking back now and seeing like, oh, I was just challenging authority, by the way. I'm very clear. I was just challenging authority.
Good. Yeah.
And I never challenged my own beliefs.
Sure.
So I never figured out, like, where did this come from?
Yeah.
Why do I believe what I believe? And I think that's what's been so revealing in my own personal journey, certainly in the last 20 years, is to like really see like, whoa, where did this belief come? And I really don't know what I think I know about it.
Right.
But boy, do I have an opinion. And I would love to debate you on it.
Yeah,
It's
sure.
so funny.
Yep.
And I feel like a lot of people are like that.
Yeah.
100%.
Absolutely. What about you?
What's coming up for me is really the one thing that I feel now that I've practiced self-awareness and mastery is that the only true thing to be indoctrinated into is that you're the creator of what you want, right?
Perfect.
And so you get to decide. However, when you're a child, like you were saying, you need to know certain things. There's a difference, though, between like a guardian and a guide, and somebody that's indoctrinating or having you believe what they believe. And God bless our parents and everybody before them, because they're just doing what they feel is best and teaching us what is right and wrong. And sometimes those things aren't necessarily actually what are right and wrong for us, So it's really about being an individual, being aware of where we do have these beliefs, but also being deliberate in how we carry forward once we get to the age of having our own independent mind, right?
Absolutely.
Sure.
So I always like to set the stage with definitions. So Webster's definition of indoctrination is to imbue with a usually partisan or sectarian opinion, point of view, or principle to instruct, especially in fundamentals or rudiments. Jesus, Webster, I need another dictionary to figure out what that meant. Modern framing, being imprinted wrongly, lack of integrity at odds with self. Our lens a little bit is being taught what to think instead of how to think. So again, why this topic matters. Indoctrination shapes everything, how we see ourselves, others, and what's possible. And without awareness, we hand over our individuality to beliefs we never examined.
Absolutely.
So 3 kind of, words I want to add to this is by exposing indoctrination, we reclaim awareness. So seeing the invisible rules at play. Sovereignty, so sovereignty with ourselves, really choosing beliefs. And then integrity, living aligned with self, not programming.
Yeah.
Anything come up for either of you around?
For sure. And so I can feel that when I was young, I had a sense of awareness, but I did get a little more dense and sleepy as I got older. And by the time I was 20 and going off to nursing school, I was pretty heavily indoctrinated. Yeah. By the time I went to med school, it was even more so, to the point where I felt very disconnected with myself. As I got aware, I could feel I created more sovereignty and awareness of the beliefs I wanted to have. And then now I feel more independent in those beliefs and the systems around them to be able to deliberately operate from what I choose rather than being at the effect of another authority or belief system. So a couple examples I want to give. One is I grew up Hindu. And so I was raised not to eat red meat, not to eat meat at first. And then at 16, I played a lot of sports and I needed some meat. So I started to eat, poultry and seafood and kept the red meat out because, Hindus and the cows, you don't touch the sacred cow, right?
Right.
So moving forward, I realized when I came to self-discovery as a trainer and to learn my own path, I realized that I had all these beliefs in place that I didn't necessarily want, but I felt like I had to. So then on top of the beliefs and the indoctrination, I'll say, was this like thing on my shoulder of you can't break it.
Right.
Like this is law. Like you cannot break it. Meanwhile, I'm sitting beside a piece of steak and my mouth is watering and I'm like,
wrong.
So I had my first steak when I was 32 years old. And no, I'm not saying it's right or wrong to eat it as a Hindu or whatever it is. But the bottom line is that I felt healthier when I started eating meat. It felt good for my body. I wanted to eat it. I gave myself the opportunity and my body feels stronger. I feel better when I work out, so it is what I've decided to do for me. And I don't make it right or wrong. Yeah. And I've explained it to my family and whatever, and they can get it and they do,
Love it.
And I have another example, but I'll make it short. just going and being in the medical field, and really looking at like, here's your diagnosis, here's your treatment.
Yes.
Yeah.
Here's what disease even means.
Yeah.
I could go on and on about that, but really just a lot of disillusionment.
Sure.
And so then, the 3 points you made are very clear there for me. Like, here's where I was taught, and here's where my sovereignty lies. And now here's what my independent being is, which is, no, I decide what happens here and how I want to believe.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's so powerful. I feel like when you look at indoctrination and you look at sovereignty, right? One doesn't even know themselves. And so myself, I just turned 50.
Sure.
And I feel like I'm just getting into a space through my own self-discovery journey that I know who I am much more clearly.
Absolutely.
And part of that was actually looking at the beliefs, not the ones, there are the obvious ones. Let me call them the obvious ones.
Sure.
Like, oh, I don't value myself. I'm not receiving. I'm not this.
Yes.
But looking at really, where did these ideas come from? Have I evaluated them?
Yeah.
And I'm really feeling around sovereignty, liberty, justice for
Absolutely.
all. What is the liberty of this country? Why do we love being Americans?
Yeah.
Why is this so important?
No doubt.
Why are our founding documents so important?
Sure.
It's for that liberty, right?
100%.
And if you look at that and you say, this is what this really means. If we don't look at indoctrination from every perspective, we're missing out on the foundation of this country that we very much love. And so I think for me, that's really what's hitting home in sort of the 3-part look of indoctrination.
Sure.
Yeah.
And a quick comment on that one before. The important thing for me on that is it's not just some paper written.
Right.
This is like, to me, whether you believe in God or whatever it is, but it's God's law.
Absolutely.
It is the 100%. Law of the cosmos and the universal law.
Yeah.
And that is the closest thing to it. So I appreciate you bringing that up. That's powerful.
Yeah. So I thought it would take us longer to get to
Bam. Right into it, Wendy. Right into it.
But, the media, right? How we consume the media, what the media feeds us. I mean, this is to me so important to go back to those values, liberty, freedom, justice, is to really be aware of how you're taking the messages of the media and making them true versus what's actually true, what's actually fact, what actually feels right and aligned
to self.
Yeah. And not just letting the media, you guys have heard me say this before, but not just letting the media make us its bitch,
Right.
And we're just walking around like robots, like, oh, I just saw it on this news channel or I read it here, so it must be true. And I just feel like there's such an opportunity for our society to like disregard the media and be like a big, excuse my language, fuck you. I'm going to decide for myself. I'm not going to just let you turn me into to a robot.
100%.
Well, I think about the transformation on that. So when I was growing up, we had like 4 major networks. I always watched the nightly news. It was like Tom Brokaw time and the family is together. You know what I mean? And whatever was on there is what we cared about. So, the ends of the show would have like the portion around the kids starving in Africa. Like this is what created movements, right?
Yeah.
Because the media is very powerful.
Sure.
And I feel like almost like what I said about our show, everything's an evolution, right? So now we're in a space where media is 24/7 and we still have this old thinking that if it's said on the news, it's true. And people know that's not true because they'll laugh. Like, did they say it on the internet?
Right.
Yeah. That doesn't mean it's true, but yet you're like, I believe whatever's coming out of this broadcaster's mouth.
Right.
Versus what you're saying, and I think we all agree, does this feel right to me? And not just does it feel right, have I done my own due diligence here?
That's right.
I'm not asking you to be an AP journalist, but I'm saying, have you actually looked at facts for yourself?
Sure.
Right? It's all a matter of interpretation when people see things differently. We have different perspectives.
Oh, yeah.
But to be aligned with yourself, to have that integrity means that you actually need to feel like very clear that this is the right message. This is the fact from your lens.
For sure.
Right?
Yeah.
So
for sure.
I love it.
I've had a couple conversations with family members that are either in Canada or India. And I just bring up something simple like, I'm going to, my citizenship or something about passports or traveling or anything. And immediate panic in their voices. And
drama.
These are not people that are usually fearful. And like, but isn't there like a big problem there right now? And aren't you going to have trouble if you try to leave the country? And on and on. And I'm like, whoa, 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 guys. I get it. I mean, their media there is showing them what,
Right.
especially, I mean, come on, let's
100%.
get real. Canada, Trudeau, you know, like, I'm not even, that's a different topic.
Another episode.
We're going to stay right here.
Canada.
So, but really, it's amazing how much people are very heavily being affected, manipulated, I will say.
It's manipulation.
Strongly manipulated and influenced to believe certain things right now. So strong that we're seeing what we're seeing.
Yeah.
You know, so strong that we're actually seeing people that are dressed, cross-dressing and dancing for children, and that their parents think that's okay.
Right.
And if they say anything, it's harmful to the person dancing, but it's not harmful to their child.
Right.
So this is, I could go on and on. We all know what this is.
Yeah.
It's heavy manipulation and indoctrination for the purposes of power.
Yeah.
Okay. Who has power over what and who?
Yep.
And all the news that's been coming out, especially in the last while, and even more so in the past couple weeks,
Sure.
is based on a lot of this.
Yeah.
Just pure speculation, easily manipulated, easily influenced, not solid in self, not confident in self. When one becomes a victim, if they have a need, they become desperate, then it becomes like a hunger, and anything that wants to give them and feed them what they want is their savior.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Then you can't see truth when you're that much. It's like Gollum, you know, from Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
Precious.
Yes,
you know,
yes.
so desperately trying to get truth or something that it can grasp onto. It doesn't know what's right and wrong from there because they're not connected to themselves and they can't feel this.
Yeah.
So they're going to have to go by facts and what they think. This person's good. They're teaching me this. I need to believe this instead of I can feel it right here in my own heart. I know exactly what is good for me, period.
Absolutely.
Mhm.
That's so powerful. What's coming up for me as you're saying that is, I think when you're feeling fearful, when things that you're consuming is making you feel fearful, it's a good cue to like look deeper because there's probably something there that you're letting manipulate you versus being sovereign. So
absolutely.
yeah, I think it's like a really good like tactic to be like, okay, if I just watch the news and all of a sudden I'm upset or not upset, but you know, fearful, like maybe I should go a layer deeper because I'm probably being manipulated versus really feeling into what's true, what's right for me.
For sure.
What do you
I
think
love
about
that. I mean, right now I'm just feeling the manipulation by the media is something that has been talked about, right? So it's not a topic that people haven't talked about, but yet we haven't seen a lot of changes.
No.
Okay. So I wonder, you know, I've heard about some startups that we're going to have both, you know, the most liberal, like Democracy Now, all the way to Epoch Times kind of thing, and allow you to see, let's really fact check. But even that word fact check has, I mean, after the presidential debate, fact check,
I mean, it's nothing.
Fact check based on your perspective.
Source to source.
Exactly.
Right.
So I think the message I really want to get across is it has to be you and you.
Sure.
Yeah.
And this is confusing for people because we have been taught that we have sources that know more than us.
Yes.
You know, so it is not as, it's easy to say, but it's much harder to swallow. And then when people, you throw in politics, if they think anything, they don't want to hear it.
Sure.
So I'm going to give just another sort of basic example. So if anyone, we live in Florida.
We do.
If there's a storm coming, what happens? Relatives call.
Yes.
People are freaking out because they're watching news clips of B-roll from 3 storms ago of the Home Depot and the Publix with empty shelves. And I'm sitting back like, what are you talking about?
Like nothing's happening.
Chilling like a villain. I'll be okay.
That's right.
Now, I'm not undermining that the meteorologists are wrong. You know, like hurricanes happen, but it's a simple example. And I think if you're feeling confronted listening to this, like you think it's a particular way, I would have our listeners just say, let me just look at that.
Yeah.
Sure.
Let me look at the examples in my life where that happens.
Yeah. And there's
it
a
happens
motive
all over
behind
the
that,
place.
right?
Absolutely.
Why do we there's a hurricane of 100+ miles per hour? No, that was like one little gust, if that.
Right.
And that's not how you measure a hurricane, by a gust but what's their motive? What is the motive, right? Right from the elections and the first elections has been an amazing thing to watch. I mean, why did so much of the Black population start looking at this man like, hold the phone?
Yeah.
What's going on here? No, hold on. We can relate to this. They're doing to him what they did to us.
Yeah.
What's going on here? They just needed to see that. They needed to see it was relatable. they needed to know that, right? What about all this other media around how, well, maybe I'll say that for another day. But if we're sticking to the Donald Trump topic, how do we look at what is the truth for us? You just feel. You feel, what are they doing to him? They're trying to indict him for nothing. They were trying to do all sorts of things to him that so many people could relate to and say, you know what, hold the phone, this is wrong.
Right.
But on the other side, it's like, you know what? Oh, I can't wait till he's indicted. Well, why? What did he do? Well, he just deserves it. Why did he deserve it? Do you have anything that shows that he should be arrested or indicted or go to court or whatever it is? Do you personally have anything that supports this? And if that's a no, check yourself.
Right.
Come on.
Yeah.
Check yourself. Don't just sit there and say stuff. I've seen it all over the news too, or even interviews when they ask somebody and they just have like an opinion and they're like, he's this way. Okay, what do you have to back that up? Nothing, zero.
Right. Well, it's just a great way to be in life in general.
100%.
It's like, if you have a strong opinion about something, which is great because that's passion, but question yourself
for sure,
routinely, because sometimes you might be coming from a limitation. Maybe you feel a certain way, but it's coming from trying to overcome something, or it's, you know, trying to, the ego's in the way versus no, that's really because I'm passionate about it. I feel purposeful about it. I'm aligned with it. So, I mean, I think just in general, asking those questions all the time is
definitely
a great way to live.
It's a great way to live. Yeah, I was thinking about when you said check yourself, I was like, little star there. How do we check ourselves, right? So I think the three of us, I'm very clear that we're aware that what we're seeing is what we're being.
Yep.
So we are projecting like movie projectors out into the world. So if somebody walks in the room and I've got a certain way about them, I'm very clear, oh, there's something happening here. And then I can ask myself those questions like, who do they remind me of? What am I feeling right now? Why is that happening versus, oh, that's who that is. And that's who you're always going to be.
For sure.
And now I've cut you out.
Yeah.
No power, no possibility, no ability to relate to another.
Sure.
And I think that's the, you know, that's why it doesn't work. That's the cost.
Definitely.
Yeah.
You know, and so I would say to our listeners, think about all the people you've shut off.
100%.
What's the cost of that?
100%.
In your life, for humanity. I mean, think about that.
There's a
right?
cost. And we've talked about in previous podcasts, who you're being is what you're saying.
That's right.
So if you're hate-filled and you're making conclusions, you know,
100%.
so where you're coming from is what you're going to create.
Yeah.
If you're hate-filled and fear-filled, then how accurate do you think you're seeing things? What happens if we're coming from fear and anger? We're not going to necessarily create the right outcome unless it's deliberate and directed onto what we want. It's usually going to create the same, more fear and anger.
Yeah.
Right. So, you know, I want to say this because it's coming up so much this whole time and I'm not speaking it, but speaking of indoctrination and the way some people have reacted to our great and dear Charlie Kirk is 100% unacceptable.
Yeah.
So here's a man of God. You don't have to agree with his beliefs.
That's right.
You don't have to agree with what he said. You don't have to agree with what his mission was or how he goes about doing it. But one thing is certain. He brought up conversations for youth.
Yep.
Okay. He was very effective at it. He changed the entire generation.
Absolutely.
100%. Again, if you don't agree with his beliefs, fine.
Yeah.
Nobody's asking you to go there. But to hate on a person that has only created forward movement, massive evolution.
Sure.
And how do we know? Look at what's happening now even.
Right.
Okay. The torch, it's lit and it's blazing.
Blazing. Yeah.
So this is a good example of indoctrination. You know, if you can't see through those dark glasses and filters, if you can't take a look at somebody and listen to them and really take a moment to feel all sides.
Yeah.
I'm sure that if I listen to everything he said, there might be something that I might not fully agree with.
Of course.
You know, and I can think of a couple things that I was like, they made me think, or maybe I did disagree at first, or maybe I continue to disagree. I can't think of any right now, but maybe I do. It does not matter.
That's right.
All that matters is I see what he's doing or anybody's doing. I feel what's right for me. Let's synergize and create more and more greatness. And then I feel what's not there. I don't have to make a deal out of it. We want to be in a winning society, a victorious, forward-moving, evolutionary society. Let's go with the flow, synergize for more greatness, and create forward movement.
Absolutely.
And take care of the other side on our own, you know,
Absolutely.
or with the people like we do with each other, you know, but we don't have to spew and be hateful.
Absolutely. No, it's super powerful.
Basic humanity.
Right.
It's like
Thank
humanity
you.
101.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what's so disgusting about the responses. It's like, this isn't, you can debate with me all day. Like, where is your humanity?
That's right.
That's all I have to say.
That's right.
Yeah.
End of story.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and I think again, going back to when things affect you that much, where you are spewing so much hate,
Mhm.
which cannot feel good.
Sure.
Like it's got to feel limiting. It's got to feel disgusting. It's probably showing up everywhere in your life. It's a good opportunity to look because it
Yeah.
doesn't have to be that
It is.
way.
It is.
So if you're so focused on hate and revenge and retaliation, I mean, it's a good opportunity to say, what am I creating
Sure.
in the world?
Yeah.
Where's my humanity? Is that what I want to be known for? Someone that's just always spewing hate,
Right.
and it's just a good opportunity time to say, no, I'm bigger than that. I'm greater than that.
Mhm.
I want my legacy to be bigger than that. So
Yeah.
let me take a step back and, why is there this huge wave of the other side that just got lit on fire,
Because we don't want to own it.
Yeah.
And I want to make this point because it's very important. One of the things that I learned in self-discovery and through my process of self-actualization through my whole life is really that you cannot decide that it's okay to be one side and not the other.
Yes.
So,
That's right.
we've all seen the Tao symbol. We can talk about it as night and day, black or white. We all have a shadow side and we all have a light side. So this isn't about not being angry. This isn't about denying your anger, denying the beast, denying the hate, denying any of it. I hate. I can be angry.
100%.
I'm all of these things that I see in the world.
That's right.
And I mean that. Like, I'm not just saying that to be cliche and spiritual or whatever. I can see where I am these things that I see. I can see where I can be ISIS. I can see where I'm a shooter. I can see those things in myself because they're all part of all of us.
Yeah.
So the important thing is to not deny it, but to just be honest with self. Like, okay, I feel this way.
Yeah.
In fact, awareness and honesty go a long, long way.
Yeah.
If I can just say, wow, you know what? I do feel that part of me. I do feel that part of me that really would like to kill somebody or hurt somebody, or
Sure.
I'm not angry and fume. Then actually putting the light of awareness on something is what prevents it from operating on automatic. It's what prevents it from flying out on its own because now you have a grip on it. Now you see it. Awareness is the cure. And, I love this thing that Deepak Chopra said a while ago. I heard, you cannot own your divine without your diabolical.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So you might as well know, come on, every successful person knows that they have a side of them that is ego driven.
Sure.
We're not about annihilating
Of
egos.
course.
If we don't have an ego, we do not have the power to make change in the world.
That's right.
It's about gaining command over the ego. By gaining command over the ego, you have command over your beliefs, your feelings, your thoughts, your anger, your frustration, et cetera, et cetera.
So indoctrination.
Yes.
Yeah.
Indoctrination that the ego is bad.
That's right.
Indoctrination that a good person looks like somebody who's just really peaceful,
Yep.
Yeah.
never gets upset,
That's right.
keeps the peace. And that is
Good.
a total load of shit.
That's
Total.
Right? That's the ultimate indoctrination,
Right.
is that being human, humanity is being just, what is it, a doormat, right?
Yeah. Being
Okay.
nice.
That's it. There you go. You nailed it. Took it right out of my mouth.
Yeah.
The ultimate indoctrination is that humanity is being nice.
Yeah.
And like you said
And then I'm
earlier,
going to
Wendy,
make you feel good.
right.
Oh, gosh.
Right. Seen and not heard, she said earlier, which is a very
100%.
common belief that women have
Yes.
as girls.
Yeah.
I must
Yep.
be seen and not heard. I'm not valuable or whatever it is.
Right.
I must be a doormat. Even the whole concept of surrendering to the masculine, being a devotional woman. We could talk about trad wives or whatever you want to say, but it doesn't mean you just lie on the ground and act like a dumbass. Okay. I can be a very devotional woman and surrender to my masculine and a respectful and masculine that I value outside of me very, very effectively. But it does not take away from my power. And in fact, it makes me a better woman.
Yeah.
So this is also about, thank you for saying that. This is also about what am I deciding to be allowing with?
yeah.
And when it's a deliberate allowance from right order, instead of being like, both of you have definitely seen me in my modes where I've been very masculine or very
Yeah.
aggressive. And it's like,
Sure.
hey, I'm here. Like earlier, hey, Jane's like, lighten up a little for this podcast, right? That's just it.
Yeah,
It
got it.
doesn't have to be so serious. There's a time for allowance,
Yeah.
but too much allowance leads to the doormat.
Yeah.
Okay. So we need to wrap up. I know we could keep,
quick.
we could
That
keep
was
going
crazy. It was
on.
I have a crazy cool example though.
Okay.
Can I throw it in?
Yes.
All right. Let me throw it in. So I love cooking shows.
I do.
Okay, so there's a new cooking show on Netflix called Next Gen.
Okay.
Chef.
Uh-huh.
Great.
It is.
In the CIA. Awesome. So I was watching the first episode, and I thought it was like, you've got to be kidding me. So young woman chef, they've got their first group challenge, and a young male chef says, I'm going to take the lead, and he takes the lead. And then she's on camera, and she is like, well, he shouldn't have taken the lead. He's a fascist. And I'm like, I'm sorry, what? Leadership now equals fascism? Okay, there you go. You are so indoctrinated.
Right.
But then here's the kicker, right? So she says this, but also, and I get it's TV. So we saw the clips we saw, but she never spoke up and said, like, no, I don't want you to lead. She just let him lead, was angry, makes this note.
Okay.
And then her dish doesn't go well. He comes in, completely saves the day. And she makes it past the elimination round because of it. And then she says to the judges, just very, well, he was a better leader than I thought. And I thought to myself that, thank you. One, that was humble. Awesome.
Sure.
But did you look at your belief that you literally think somebody stepping up that in your opinion isn't the right person is now a fascist?
Sure.
So leadership is being fascist.
And what it did to you.
Thank you, Next Gen.
Sure.
But it was a great example. So you might want to watch
example. Great parallel for the whole flipping
episode 1.
Yeah.
All right.
So we always like to leave our listeners with some homework, some challenges. I'll start with you. I mean, what would you like to challenge our listeners as a result of this conversation?
Sure. Yeah. Look at, I would say, take a look at where you feel like you might be indoctrinated, what you believe, and where it's certain, even though your mind or your intuition or something is telling you to go a different way, and you're sticking to what you believe because you think it's right, and it must be so.
Awesome. Jane, what you got?
Yeah, I would just say always question your own beliefs. Just look at them. Say to yourself, how did I get to this belief? What brought me here? And now let me go and look for myself. Become your own best researcher.
Yeah.
And just take it on. That's the easiest thing to do.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, I think those two, and just get extra curious. If something's making you feel hateful, evil, limiting, get curious and go deeper and really question yourself and look at why am I believing this, and is there a better way? So awesome. Thank you, ladies.
Thank you.
Thank you, listener.
All right.
Thanks, guys.
All right. Until next time.
You got it.
Thanks for being here with us. If something in today's conversation sparked something in you, let it keep simmering.
And if you loved it, share it, subscribe, leave a review, or pass this along to someone who's ready to lean into what's real.
This is Real Aware Women, and we're just getting started exclusively on the roarnetwork.us.